Hi, this is Bren. Today, I wanted to share with you the importance of delayed gratification. This is such an important skill that you definitely want to have. There is a famous experience done in you might heard about this marshmallow experiment where kids who can hold on to not getting the you know not eating the marshmallow for the first whatever the minutes get the second one. And the point is that whoever didn't eat the marshmallow, uh, if they follow the kids and who actually ate the marshmallow before they're getting the next one, always the one that who could control their impulse or appetite, delay the gratification, do better in life. And this is a very simple mechanism of why that's the case. It is because the the human mind's like a first impression, the urge or things of nature come from our impulse or feelings, right? That's really nothing really to do with facts or reality. It's our feeling. Sometimes it aligns, sometimes it doesn't. But in a slower things like our rational thinking, like strategic thinking, it all comes from a little bit delayed, like emotional. That the less the emotional up and down, you can actually think more of rational thing can be performed. So in this type of environment, delayed gratification just gives you is that when the emotion is heightened, you are not making decisions. You are just waiting for that emotion to subside. It might take like a few hours. It might take 30 minutes. It might take a day or two. But then when you do it, you can actually think, calmly, like stay away from the like immediate impression, and they say, hey, you know what, this is how it was a few days ago, and I can really think now what's the best course of actions. But then that doesn't justify you to postpone the things that you should have done right now. So how do you know which one to delay and then which one you don't? So it's a delayed gratification, right? So something that you feel good, even when you're trying to eat something, like that's the thing. Anything immediately gives you the high, the pleasure. If you're thinking about something and it gives you like a desire or lust or whatever, it's a pleasure, right? That's the thing you wanted to actually pull back a little bit. It's hard. If you do that gratification actually too much, your life is not going to be that fun. It's almost like you can eat ice cream, like doesn't make any sense, right? So, but then if you do it in moderation, means it's like, okay, eating ice cream every day is not good. Probably you agree, and that's the conclusion you can get. Like, okay, how often you can actually eat, and then depending on how much workout you do, and so forth. So by delaying it, you can actually strategize, and then if you train that skill, you can actually wait. And oftentimes, what you want to do is just because you're delaying, in the meantime, you're not doing anything. You wanted to do something. You wanted to replace that void with something that meaningful. I think a lot of times, like people relapse, not be able to do that because human beings like feels like a dead air, like a dead like time, like not doing anything is really painful. So find some kind of activities, fill out the few, like let's say if you wanted to, if you know that you shouldn't like eat the sweet, right? Then instead of just waiting something to like time pass like a tick tick tick, that's even 5 minutes feels long. So in the meantime, you might just do, okay, I'm gonna go work out first and then see how I feel after. It's like take a 15 minutes, go jogging or push up or whatever. So kind of replace with something good. And also, your mind have to always shift, especially, let's say, anger or some kind of vengeful thought actually feels actually good. It's like, oh, you know what, like, I'm gonna do something to this guy, and then momentarily you feel like adrenaline is up, you feel powerful and whatever. That's kind of the pleasure as well. But then you got to be careful, this type of thing. Anything else, if you act on it, then generally it doesn't go anything good to your life. That's why it's delayed gratification is such a important factor in how your direction will affect. That's how powerful this concept is. So whenever you have this impulsive, whatever, like indulgence, anger, resentment, envy, whatever, like this type of like, oh, it's like a little feel good about it. I want it to feel good, right? That type of situation. Just think, does this whole situation, like especially like when you're angry, does that even matter when you're like a month later, a year later, or when you're like 20 years later? Does that even matter? And if you think in terms of that, like let's say, okay, if I didn't do this today, or if I just not do it, does that even, my life, what would really matter by not doing it in 20 years? And then a lot of times, if you do it at that time, drastically get worse if you continue. But then if you didn't do it, it doesn't really matter. Then don't do it. Substitute something that actually matter in the future, which is that there's something that you should be doing or you should not be doing, that type of things. Okay, that's what you want to replace with. So in a sense, like as a human beings, the difference between animals and humans are that we can think rationally. But then to have that rationality kicks in, we really have to slow down a little bit. Because always the way our biological brains is wired, the emotion comes first. Then the ability to think rationally comes later. But then the influence of that emotion is so strong that even negatively oftentimes affect the rational thought. So calm down, take your time, and then, let the distance be. And then once you have that calmness, not necessarily calmness, but then be able to think strategically and rationally, then that's the time you want to make the best long-term strategic movement as possible. And that's the best way to improve your life, really. Share your thought in the comment sections to help each other, and like and subscribe to be part of the conversation. Thank you.